Good morning, friends of God. Good morning. Welcome to the first State of the Seminary event at Christian Theological Seminary. Whether you're joining us through the live stream or you're here in the common room, I am very grateful for your presence and your commitment to CTS. We have some important and exciting news to share with the CTS community and the public. So we thought it was the ideal time to bring everyone together. I want to offer a special welcome to our emeriti and former trustees and emeriti and former faculty. Your continued support of the mission of Christian Theological Seminary is vital as we take these important steps to claim more fully the identity of the seminary and to make it more widely known. As you all know, the seminary launched a strategic planning process in January of 2020. Many of you participated. Despite the arrival of the COVID-19 pandemic, we never wavered in our commitment to carefully discern what was our vision and plan for CTS at this critical stage of its history. We agreed that our mission to form disciples of Jesus Christ for church and community leadership to serve God's transforming of the world was at the heart of our discernment process. Consequently, the planning framework centered on the question, what is God inviting us to consider? The question itself was a reminder of our commitment to practicing discernment as an integral spiritual discipline and as an approach to learning, a process of inquiry, listening, reflection, and dialogue. The discernment included engagement with a broad range of invested and knowledgeable individuals, from thought leaders in theological education to alumni and community leaders in Indianapolis. In total, 400 stakeholders provided input. More than 55 members of the CTS community, trustees, faculty, and senior staff members brought the process to a conclusion in March of 2021. In our conversation during the planning process and since, we have heard many powerful statements about CTS, the world, our life in common, congregational life, the future of theological education. The comments continue to influence how we implement our plan and have encouraged us to continue the discipline of ongoing listening. I want to share a few of their insights that I believe God is inviting us to consider. Pastor after pastor shared with us that they were reimagining congregational life, and far before COVID, which only made it more difficult. Whether they saw a decline in attendance or not, they were all reflecting on the dynamics of belonging and Christian community. Preaching and teaching adherence to a prescribed set of doctrines were increasingly unhelpful. Most of these pastors were also struggling to help congregants address issues of injustice, not only in our society, but also within the church. They understood that racism, sexism, heterosexism, classism, anti-Semitism, and xenophobia must be addressed. The pastors recognized that acts of exclusion, oppression, and prejudice within Christianity were undermining any message of belonging that the church might offer. Nearly all of them reported resistance at some level to the changes needed within their communities. The pastors expressed a deep desire for more resources and greater support. A graduate student at Emory University shared with the strategic planning team, "The world is on fire, and I'm looking at theological schools and wondering if they're going to help address the issues that we face as a human family." This doctoral student summed up in one sentence what we heard from so many. As we began implementing our plan, therapists and those who employ therapists have been telling us about the increasing need for mental health professionals, both nationally and in Indiana. Increases in depression, alcohol and drug abuse, and trauma are being reported by the National Institutes of Health and universities across the country. The demand for well-trained, quality therapists continues to rise alongside these disturbing statistics. And when looking at the pool of therapists, African Americans and Hispanics are particularly underrepresented. Pastors have also been talking to us about the increased need for mental health resources, not only for their congregations, but for themselves. These pastors have realized that spiritual care in their community must include care for the mental well-being of their congregants. From alumni of both our counseling programs and our theology programs, we have heard loud and clear that they need more support and ongoing education. Their work has become increasingly more challenging, and they need help with adapting to the emerging needs of their congregations, their communities, and their clients. From pastors and denominational leaders, we have heard a chorus asking for the opportunity to work together and to move beyond the transactional dynamic that had crept into our relationships. Foundations, who have traditionally supported theological education, are changing too. More than one foundation has taken a sharp turn in their grant parameters, making it clear that they will no longer offer grants to help either the church or theological education fix its own problems. Instead, they will only fund projects in theological schools that can demonstrate an investment in addressing the issues that plague us as a society, including issues that have been generated and supported by religious narratives. Sobering. The faculty, staff, and administration, and the trustees have been listening carefully to these sobering messages. And CTS, I'm glad to say, is ready and willing to grow in order to meet these challenges and changing dynamics. I'm grateful, very grateful to say, that over the past 2 years, the entire, and I mean the entire institution has been working hard to rebuild our relationships with alumni, local clergy, denominational leaders, partner organizations, former trustees, and former faculty. And we have made significant changes throughout the institution. I want to highlight just a few of them. First, we've redesigned programs, degree programs. The faculty have completely redesigned the Master of Divinity program and the remote learner and the part-time learner in mind. Starting this fall, MDiv students will now be able to complete the degree in 3, 4, 5, or 6 years with a predictable and reliable schedule. In addition to the new schedule, the curriculum has been updated to include required courses in gender, sexuality, and theology, interfaith collaboration, theological social ethics, anti-racism, philosophies from around the globe, trauma-informed care, and organizational leadership. The faculty redesigned the Doctor of Ministry program with more DMin-specific courses with a low residency schedule. And most recently, the faculty completed a redesign of the Master of Theological Studies program. Starting this fall, The 37-credit MTS can be accessed 100% virtually. We have designed it for people following a variety of professional paths, but in each case, we have included the requirement to engage some element of our life in common: gender and sexuality, anti-racism, or interfaith leadership. In addition, we have created new programs to support lifelong learning for church and community leaders. CTS launched 2 pilot programs last fall designed to support local church ministry and to bring theological reflection to the realities we face in our life in common. Each one offered virtually. Our Life in Common series is an opportunity for Christians and others to consider how the resources of our religious heritage and our corporate and individual experiences can come together in meaningful conversation. The theme for next year's courses will be Christianity and Technology. These short courses can be incorporated easily into a congregation's education plan. Skills for Flourishing Congregations is a micro-credentialing program focused on helping congregations build important practical capacities. And the theme for next year's offerings will be digital pastoral ministry. And thanks to a grant from Lilly Endowment, CTS is participating in the Compelling Preaching Initiative, which will help exemplary preachers to learn more about the craft of preaching and teach others how to preach. Furthermore, we have been conducting significant research. Last year, we authorized a major research project to find out what local pastors and churches were doing around social justice. And during this academic year, the seminary has been conducting a racial bias audit of the seminary with the help of Gwen Kreider of Impact Partners. She's here with us this morning. The seminary has been clear that helping our communities of faith embrace an anti-racist future means that we need to do our own work as an institution. In early summer, we expect to receive a report from the findings and recommendations from the audit, and we'll share more about the report and our action plan later this year. During this academic year, we have also launched a year-long market research project to help us better understand key trends in counseling and theology degree programs, both regionally and nationally. We want to be competitive, let me be clear. But more importantly, we want to provide the best possible education and formation for the next generation of counseling clinicians, pastors, chaplains, religious educators, and community leaders. As you would expect, Christian Theological Seminary is known both regionally and nationally as a leader in theological education. Its commitment to scholarship and personal formation has been foundational since its beginning in 1924, when it was part of Butler University. When it became a freestanding seminary in 1958 and known as Christian Theological Seminary, its commitment to ecumenism and the preparation for ministry across the body of Christ became even more widely appreciated. The additions of the Doctor of Ministry in 1968 and the PhD in African American Preaching and Sacred Rhetoric in 2016, as well as the Clergy Renewal Program and the First Season Project, have reinforced the seminary's commitment to local church ministry and the power and potency of Christian community. CTS, however, has never fully embraced its identity as an institution that educates and forms counseling clinicians, in addition to pastors, chaplains, and educators. Pastoral care became a distinct field of study at CTS in 1958, when Lowell Colston was appointed to the regular full-time faculty. In 1965, a pioneer in the counseling profession, Paul E. Johnson joined the faculty as visiting professor. He worked with Colston and Donald Wismar to build the seminary's first degree program in counseling, launched in 1971, the Master of Arts in Pastoral Care and Counseling. Since then, the seminary has appointed a number of scholars and therapists to the regular faculty, including Sue Webb Cardwell, Bernie Lyon, Ursula Pfafflin, Brian Grant, Felicity Kelkhorst, Jackie Brager, Suzanne Coyle, Matthias Beyer, Christina Davis, and most recently, Nicole Robertson. Our marriage and family therapy program was accredited in 1994, nearly 30 years ago. And CTS began offering counseling sessions with student interns as far back as the early 70s. But even though CTS has offered counseling degrees for decades and taught counseling for even longer, mental health professionals in our region do not know much about us. Furthermore, they often do not know about our counseling center, even though we will provide over 10,000 sessions this year alone. Right now, many counseling programs are growing because of the increased need for mental health professionals. Our challenge has been that people don't automatically think about going to a seminary to become a therapist. It's not always an obvious connection. Until now. Today, Christian Theological Seminary is proud to announce the establishment of the School of Counseling and the School of Theology. These new schools create explicit pathways for students, supporters, and partner organizations of all types to discover and engage the array of educational offerings at CTS. The School of Counseling will incorporate our marriage and family therapy and our clinical mental health counseling degrees. The school is equipped to face an ever-changing world that presents individuals, couples, and families with new challenges daily. Such challenges to mental health and family relationships require that counseling clinicians are not only well-grounded in theory and practice, but also see their personhood as a tool for therapeutic change. Both counseling programs share an emphasis on integrating spirituality in the therapeutic enterprise and offer extensive on-site practical experience at the CTS Counseling Center. There, students see individuals, couples, and families with supervised oversight, and insight. Our graduates from the counseling programs are highly respected and are quickly employed after graduation. The establishment of the School of Counseling will help us serve more students and bring even more highly qualified therapists to Indiana. The School of Theology will incorporate the Master of Divinity, Master of Theological Studies, Doctor of Ministry, the PhD in African American Preaching and Sacred Rhetoric degree programs, as well as our certificates in theology and yoga, the First Season Project, the Clergy Renewal Program, and our new Skills for Flourishing congregations. The degrees and educational opportunities offered by the School of Theology come from our core belief that theological reflection can foster justice, compassion, beauty, and abundant life for all, and that Christian community is critical to Jesus' vision for the world. CTS seeks to serve the world through serving the church, and we believe that our School of Theology brings a distinctive voice informed by commitments to diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, to contexts where the questions of the human family are asked and easy answers are not provided. With our redesigned degree programs in the School of Theology, theological education will be more accessible and relevant than ever before at CTS. In addition to these two schools, the seminary will enhance its commitment to the Counseling Center and the Faith in Action Project. Through both commitments, CTS will increase its outreach to individuals and communities of faith to make God's liberative, restorative, and life-affirming message manifest. We will support pastors and communities of faith as they commit to making our life in common more just and equitable. We will also expand our mental health support, helping pastors heal from their own trauma as they help others. You have heard Dr. Scott C., sitting right here, tell the story of the history of CTS. He always asks us to remember 3 years, 3 dates. 1855, when Northwestern Christian University, which became Butler University, was founded. 1924, when the Butler School of Religion opened, offering theological education to all students on an equal basis. And 1958, when the School of Religion separated from Butler and became Christian Theological Seminary. 2023 will be the next year to add to that short list. The year that Christian Theological Seminary established the School of Counseling and the School of Theology, fully embracing its identity as an institution that supports the preparation and formation of pastors, chaplains, educators, community leaders, and counseling clinicians. Friends of God, God is transforming the world right now. And I don't mean that in some abstract way. Rather, by your presence and our gathering together, whether in person or via the live stream, God is working through the CTS community to help us grow to meet this very moment, to serve both the church and the wider world. May we all spread the news about these new schools and new opportunities so that more people can discover CTS and join us in God's transforming of the world. Thank you for joining us today for the 2023 State of the Seminary Address. So I think we have